Welcome to the Tailgate Debate. You're here with Anthony, Zach, Jamie, and Earl.
What's up, fellas? All right. So week 6 of college football, week 5 NFL partially over. Still a couple games going on, but not a whole lot very exciting anyways in the NFL. But we'll go through it with college. So the last week's picks, I continue to shit the bed. I got 6 right. Total 33 on the season, which is fucking terrible. Earl got 9 with a total of 47. Zach got 6, total 38 for the season. Jamie got 9 for a total of 43 for the season. So I am by far the worst so far, but it's okay.
My 9 and Earl's 9 aren't the same though, because mine were done before the game started. Earl's were done after the results were already out. So
I know Earl uses last week's.
That's old. That is really old.
I'm just saying that's the tie break is that I picked my teams before the game started.
That's really
Earl's still picking Kentucky to beat Mississippi. So
hey, all right, I fucked up that one. But I wasn't thinking. I was trying to whatever.
You were calling the upset.
He's still calling it. All right. So not a terrible week for any of us, but obviously those you got 9 kind of crushed. So let's go through real quick. There were some really good games yesterday. I mean, obviously, Tennessee fucking whooped the shit out of LSU. We'll get to that in a minute. So first game that we had was Bama. We all picked Bama, but this was a really ugly game. Everybody was expecting this to be an absolute rout of A&M. But didn't start Bryce Young. They played with their backup quarterback, who is still super athletic. Can't throw very well, but he's super athletic. What did you guys think about this game? I was surprised it was as close as it was. You guys watch it? Any takeaways from this game?
I'm not sure if A&M's defense is good or Bama just struggles without Bryce Young. I don't know. They only scored 24, so.
Yeah, I don't think their defense is good.
Their defense is good. A&M's defense is good. Huh?
I think the issue, though, was Bama's offense.
I think it's a little bit of both. A&M can play defense. I think that's their strength is that side of the ball. They have major issues at quarterback, but still, it was a weird game. I thought it was a weird game because there was a lot of movement. Both teams were moving the ball, but not a lot of scoring. So I thought it was a pretty strange game. And then A&M just had a terrible play call. They had a chance to win at the end with a last minute play, and I didn't even understand the pass. The guy still would have been in the end zone. I have the play call was. But if he would have caught the ball, it would have been 2 yards short, and he was right on the sideline. He would have been out of bounds. It was the stupidest thing I've seen so far this season. Did you guys see this or no?
Yeah, Jimbo is definitely not earning his $10 million a year. So
the last play call was terrible.
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird. I heard that Johnny Manziel tweeted out that it was the worst play call ever. Finish a game. And Johnny Manziel, he's pretty stable. So if he says something, we should all probably listen.
Well, he got one right.
Huh?
He got one right.
Yeah, he got one right. He's an asshole. So who wins in a fight between Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield, by the way?
Baker.
That's it.
Johnny Manziel's a fucking pussy. It's too crazy, dude. So
yeah, but at least Baker's not all drugged out. So I go Baker too.
Well, Manziel's short too. He's like 5'8", isn't he?
They're similar size.
I think Manziel's a spoiled, like rich kid. I think Baker really smacks the shit out of him. I don't even know if he punches him, but he definitely smacks him.
I think both of them would close their eyes for the whole fight.
That's true. It might come down to whoever has the long. All right. Anyway, it was a weird game. And then Bama obviously has a really tough test week with Tennessee, motherfucker. We'll get to that in a second. Next was Washington State USC. What was the final on this score? You guys, somebody get this pulled up. Because I really was upset about the spread. I thought the spread was way off.
I think USC like 2 scores or something, right? I think they pulled away late.
They what?
I think they pulled away late.
It was 30-14.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So I was way wrong on that. Yeah, I was way wrong because I thought the spread was ridiculous, and it covered. So it is what it is. Next game on this sheet, Purdue and Maryland. Let's skip to that one. Earl, what'd you think about your Terps? Purdue won by 2.
Yeah, I liked the game. I didn't get to see but highlights of it. I liked what I saw with the highlights. We had a couple turnovers I saw that we didn't do anything with. So I was a little disappointed with that. That could have been a change in the score for sure. But I knew we could play with them. I thought we could win. And 2-point conversion. I can't believe they called a illegal receiver, was it? I think from a 2-yard line. That's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's a weird play call. I mean, it's a weird because you're on the 2. I mean,
I think the penalty wasn't a blocker downfield. It was an eligible receiver downfield. So somebody who was on the line who wasn't eligible to receive the pass was out trying to receive a pass, which is a correct call. It has nothing to do with being on a 2-yard line.
Yeah, if he was going out for a pass, if he was blocking and he was blocking his man into the end zone, it's a different story, right?
But he wasn't blocking though. Because that's what I thought initially, that it was a blocker downfield, and I was like, that's a bullshit call. But then when I realized it was an eligible receiver downfield, that makes sense if someone who's not eligible to receive a pass is out running a route.
So I did not, like I said, I didn't see it. So if there was a lineman going out for a pass, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
I don't think he went out for a pass. He was just downfield. I don't think he was looking to get the.
How can he be downfield? It's 2 yards.
It could have also been a tight end who was on the line who wasn't eligible to receive, right? It didn't have to be a lineman.
Right. And that's more likely the scenario.
Yeah.
Either way, it was a huge penalty because they had converted.
Yeah.
Get that penalty and then missed the next 2-point conversion. So they had a change. It was a back and forth game, but they're both pretty evenly matched, I thought, but it was just it came down to the end. I mean,
If I was a Maryland fan, I'd have been pretty pissed off at that penalty.
I think it's weak, but I mean, if it's a penalty, it's a penalty.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. I think it's a weak call to call it, but
both those teams were going at it though. So
they were both moving the ball.
Yeah, it was a fun game because we had it on the second TV, so we were kind of keeping tabs on it. And every time we were just like, holy shit, we're about to score again. And it was always like the game was never over because the fucking defense would never stop the offense.
yeah.
So a minute left, 40 seconds left, and then they're down at the going for the 2-point conversion to tie. So it was a pretty fun game to watch. But the ending was pretty shitty for it to end on a penalty like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hate the game on a penalty, but I mean, it happens. It could have been worse. Listen, nobody had a worse ending than A&M. Should probably fire Jimbo on that ending, but that's a tough way to go down on the penalty call there, especially after you converted. It's kind of a bite in the ass.
Did you see that guy say that it would be cheaper to hire a hitman than fire Jimbo?
No. Who said that?
That was like the big story all week. Was one of those call-ins. I think it was on the Feinbaum show. It was like, we might as well hire a hitman because that would be cheaper than firing Jimbo.
That's a fucked up statement.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, listen, Jimbo's locked in. He's got a $100 million contract, and it's all guaranteed. So he doesn't have a buyout amount. His buyout is his entire contract.
Oh yeah, A&M stuck with him. I mean,
And A&M extended him last year. They reset the clock because when LSU was looking for a coach, they wanted to lock Jimbo in. So they actually restarted the contract. So he had a fresh 10 years starting last year.
I mean, he's a good coach.
No, he's not.
he's
Based on
fine. He's
Huh?
mediocre.
LSU,
Yeah, mediocre.
LSU
What's
was
he
trying to
done?
hire Jimbo.
Huh?
LSU was trying to hire Jimbo too.
I think that's what A&M was afraid of. So yeah, they wanted to lock him in. So the 9 years, $90 million he had left wasn't enough. So they reset the clock.
So Brian Kelly was LSU's third option then.
Who was the second option?
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley was the second option. He should have been the first option.
Well, he was the first option, but I guess Jimbo was in the equation too. I didn't know about Jimbo.
I didn't either. I was just hearing about this shit last week, why they reset the clock on his contract to lock him in.
They were probably reconsidering Orgeron. They're like, yeah, he fucks pregnant girls, but who cares?
No, he didn't sleep with a pregnant girl. He hit on her. She turned him down.
Yeah, so not as bad.
Right, right.
Yeah, because she
So
said no.
That's exactly it. That's the only reason he didn't have sex with a pregnant woman is because she said no thanks. Oh my God. I don't want to have to put another Cookie Monster song on here. So let's not go into the Orgeron shit. He's a piece of shit. Anyway, let's move on. So FSU, NC State. I was the only one that had Florida State. NC State won a 2-point game. That was a battle, what I think is pretty shitty teams. But NC State pulled it out, so good for them. Anything on that game, anybody?
The fact that NC State is in the top 25 it's comical. Like
It is.
they're fucking terrible.
I agree.
Top 25?
Do what?
Huh?
Have you seen the top 25?
Yeah.
It's a joke this season.
Past the top 10, it's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And some of the top 10 teams are a little shaky.
And there was a lot of movement for the top 10, and everyone won. And there's still they're dropping.
Well, they did the right thing with us. I'll tell you that much. Moving Tennessee above Oak State and USC was the right move. That was bullshit that those dudes were ranked ahead of us because we have the best resume in the country right now.
Do you think Clemson's better than Michigan?
No.
No,
Well, they bumped them.
Clemson's offense is absolute dog shit.
Clemson's a joke.
And then Alabama dropped 2 slots.
Do you,
Alabama
guys,
looked like shit.
do you guys think that Tennessee moving up has more to do with the matchup this weekend against Alabama, or the fact that they just said that Tennessee is better than those teams?
No, I think it has to do with the score. The score was so lopsided with LSU and LSU being ranked. And their defense was pretty highly touted coming into the game. So I think what we did to them was the reason they moved us up. And the other teams,
I don't think it has anything to do with our record as much as just people thought LSU was decent and we beat their ass. I think LSU is dog shit personally, but
I don't think it matters whether we're 8 or 6. It doesn't really change the market value of the game, does it? 8 or 6?
No.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
No, and I do think Tennessee's better than Oklahoma State and USC.
Well, we have the best resume. But let's get into that in a minute.
All right.
Kansas, TCU. That was actually a pretty good game. So TCU stays undefeated in the Big 12. Kansas put up a good fight. I was afraid Kansas might get run out of there and exposed for being a little. But that was a good game.
I think Kansas quarterback got hurt too, right?
Oh, yeah, he did.
He
I
did.
think he got hurt. He was pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
The backup came in, played pretty well. It was a competitive game. Obviously, it was a pretty cool game, I thought.
Yeah, whoever their coach is, they should be the ones paying his ass to keep him there. And not
They
let him
said
fucking
they
go.
said now that there's only 5 teams left that have not had college game day on their campus. Did you guys hear this?
Uh-uh.
No.
I don't remember who the 5 were, but I remember who one of them was. Earl, do you want to guess?
I'm not going to say because I would guess Kansas. Since that's what
Maryland has to be on there since you're asking.
Maryland. Right? It was Maryland, Syracuse, and then 3 others. And I think there's only one school that's never had basketball or football game day on their campus. You guys know who that was? I'll give you a hint. They're in the Big 10.
Basketball and
Iowa State, maybe?
Nope, not Iowa State. I had college game day for basketball or football because basketball does a game day.
What about
So what's that?
Rutgers?
Rutgers. Yeah. The hint made it too easy because Rutgers is the doormat. But yeah, Rutgers is the only one that's never had another one. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty interesting when I couldn't believe that Maryland's never had game day there because Maryland had some pretty good teams when EJ Henderson was there. That was really their only good stretch, but they were really decent.
I mean, how long has college game day been going on since? I mean,
20 years,
25 years, yeah.
93, I think, was the first year.
because we had some early 80 good teams.
Yeah, I mean that's 30 years. That's a lot. But Maryland hasn't been worth a shit since the 90s. I know they were pretty good in the 80s, but I don't think other than that stretch with EJ Henderson, they've really been.
When was the fridge? Early 2000s?
Who?
The
Uh,
fridge.
Phrygian?
Yeah.
When we say the fridge, that's Perry for Chicago, right? So Phrygian.
Well,
The fat
Um,
fuck that coach Maryland.
yeah, motherfucker look like a fridge.
yeah, well, that's different. The guy shaped like a fridge is different.
Also
That was
shaped
when
like a
that
fridge.
was when EJ Henderson was there. That was the early 2000s. That's when they beat us in the Peach Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, that was when they got their
01
ass stomped by Florida.
Yeah, 01 was the Peach Bowl game. So that's the year we should have been the national title, and Ellis, I don't want to talk about it. All right, so moving on, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Mississippi State thumped them pretty good. Arkansas exposed for being overrated, so they're pretty much irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, Arkansas, they have to be the biggest disappointment of the season.
I never thought they were going to be all that good to begin with.
I thought they were a solid team with, good lines, and they'd beat some ass, but they've been soft and they've just been getting spanked. So
yeah, really. I mean, they're not going to beat Bama. They're not. I mean, Ole Miss can score. Arkansas can't score like that. I still think they're a good team. They're not anything special. They'll go to a bowl. They'll win 6, 7, 8 wins. That's about it. But Mississippi State got them, and that damn Mike Leach is crazy as can be, man. He's crazy.
he's hilarious and he's a good coach.
His interviews are classics. I'm so glad Tennessee thought about hiring him back in the day, and I'm so glad we didn't get him. I couldn't deal with a lunatic like that. I like him.
we already had Dooley.
Yeah, Dooley was a lunatic too. That whole binocular thing where he was acting like he was in World War II, and that was weird too. That was a strange interview. That one never got as much traction as we need more dogs and all that stuff. It should have been.
It should have, yeah. He was insane.
He was literally like making the binocular fingers, and he was like, the Germans are coming. Like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I mean, he was doing like the whole role play. It was weird. Anyway, I think he was trying to get on national TV.
Yeah, I guess when you're being weird, you have to also be funny, because it doesn't sound like that's funny at all. It was just weird.
It wasn't funny. It was strange, because he was basically saying the Tennessee players would not improvise on the field based on the situation. They would only do exactly what was told to them. But it was a strange metaphor. It was odd. It was an odd interview.
Yeah.
But look, he was a piece of shit, so we're glad he's gone. All right. Ohio State won a really big game against Michigan State. Ohio State is just really shitty teams. So sick of Ohio State. North Carolina.
CJ Stroud for Heisman.
Oh yeah, because he's just lighting it up against completely inferior teams. So you got to pump him. I'm sure Herbie has something to do with that too. Ohio State. Oh, so we just talked about that. North Carolina, Miami. Carolina pulled that one out. Zach, you're the only one that had Miami.
Yeah, I thought Miami would bounce back. They're done.
They got bounced, and so yeah, they are done. They were done after Middle Tennessee State. I think you're a little bit late to that party.
Yeah, they heard the hurricane was coming, and they just went with it.
Yeah, and BYU Notre Dame. Jamie, so your boys are on the bounce back. So that's what, 4 wins in a row, 3 in a row. What's your record now?
3-2.
So 3 in a row. So were you pretty impressed or what?
I wouldn't say impressed. I was happy with the way we played. Our defense let a couple big plays up. So hopefully we can correct those issues. Our next 2 games are against not so great teams. So our next 2, we should get 2 more wins and probably get into the top 25 after next week or the week after. So I like the way our players are responding, and I like the way our coaches are coaching. So,
yeah, I would think that's a pretty big sigh of relief for the Notre Dame fans that you guys turned it around, because after that Marshall game, I thought they might be on the verge of firing this dude. So
It looked pretty grim.
yeah.
You guys don't really understand what was actually going on. Like our starting quarterback was really bad. It wasn't the entire team. It was really our quarterback didn't make one single play. So I wasn't as worried as you guys were. I was disappointed for sure, but I knew that if Drew Pine could do what he's doing now, which I didn't know if he could do that as well. I was worried because I didn't know if we had a quarterback on our roster. But the fact that he's been able to step in and do the things that he's been able to do, our team's right back to where we should be. So,
yeah, I mean, it's not about understanding. I mean, if you have the worst quarterback on your roster is playing, That's the coach's decision. So that was the criticism of me is why is Marcus Freeman the guy? Part of evaluating if he's the guy are the players he puts on the field. So if he's putting the best on the field, that's still on him. That was the concern is what's his,
I
what's the
don't think you can run a guy out of town for not putting the right quarterback on the field. Tyler Buckner had the bigger upside. Any person that follows in Notre Dame football would have said Tyler Buckner should start. He's a better runner. He can create more. He's a higher touted recruit, and he would no one was surprised when he was named the starter. So sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you make a change, and you move forward. So throwing someone under the bus or saying that this guy is crazy for not making this correct decision, like it happens sometimes. It's been corrected. So a little too critical.
Well, I think you're overstating our statement. I just said there was cause for concern. That's what I said. When you lose to Marshall.
Yeah, you also said he should be fired.
I did.
Yeah.
I said if he lost to Cal, they should be fired.
Yeah.
After 0-3, he should be.
Yeah.
But they turned it around.
But
if they win the games, they should win.
Back to my point though, you guys don't really know what's going on. So I get it from
bullshit. What are you talking about?
Outside looking.
You got to be a Notre Dame fan to see that he's got the wrong fucking quarterback in the game. What does that make?
But potentially he could have made the change, and Drew Pine could have came in. And if Drew Pine wasn't any good, then we would have lost. Is that the coach's fault that we don't have a quarterback on the roster?
It's the coach's fault that you lost against Marshall. That was my issue. Yeah, it is. There's too much talent on the team to lose to Marshall. So whether or not if you want to split hairs over which position he should have changed, it's irrelevant to me. But you don't have to be a Notre Dame fan to look at the coach and say you shouldn't lose to Marshall. Period.
No, I agree with that, but you guys, I think from the outside looking in, if you see Notre Dame start the season 0-3, you can say there's a problem here. This guy sucks. But if you actually know what's going on and you know the players and kind of the in and out of what's actually happening, there wasn't a sense of panic. I was concerned, but I wasn't panicking.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying as an outsider. We're all outsiders, Ash. You're not in the living room. So we're all fans. We're watching the outcomes of the games, and we're saying, "What's this coach doing?"
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't make any sense what you're saying. Like you follow Tennessee a lot more closely than me and Earl, so you would obviously know more about Tennessee football than me and Earl would if we just said something crazy about Tennessee, and you would say,
I would. If you guys pay attention to the games, you would know exactly what I know because I don't have any insider info. What are you talking about? I don't. Maybe we're talking about two different things, but what I'm saying is. I never said he should be fired after 2 games. I said I would be concerned for this dude that he might not be the right guy. And I don't think he is the right guy. That's what I said. And it was based on the outcomes of the games. I don't really care to say, well, this quarterback and could do this. And that's not my job is to watch the game. Say he's getting it done or he's not getting it done. I don't know the ins and outs of A&M, but I know Jimbo Fisher ain't getting it done. I don't know the ins and outs of Auburn, but I know they look like a fucking train wreck. And so that's what you look at is the outcomes of the games. And then you say, all right, is this guy the right guy? Is he pushing the right button?
I don't think he would have been fired in the middle of a season or anything.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Jamie said that we said that. I never said that. I never said that.
No, I said if they lost to Cal, they started 0-3, then he should be fired. But they turned it around. BYU's a solid win. And especially if they end up beating USC or somebody who, is decent, then clearly they made the right choice.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I say if they go 8-4, we'll see. They lost to the teams they should lose to. They beat the teams they should. Yeah, it's open. I mean,
yeah. And just so I'm clear, I think the BYU was a good win. I wouldn't take anything away from that. I still don't think Marcus Freeman is the right guy. For me, they got to win out and then they got to start the next season better. Like when you start like that, there's a lot to prove and a lot to establish. And so if you said, hey, well, have you changed your opinion? I haven't changed one opinion about Marcus Freeman, but I think it's a good sign, at least that Notre Dame has turned it around and winning the teams against the games they're supposed to win. So that's a good sign.
So from the start, you didn't like Marcus Freeman, right?
No, not from the start. No, I didn't know anything about him until I watched the Oklahoma State game last year to start. And actually, Ohio State, I thought, all right, well, that was a competitive game. It was a good game. But then the Marshall game, I'm like, that's your preseason number 5. You can't lose that game. Can't lose it. You can't lose that game.
I agree with that.
And the lead they gave up against Oklahoma State. Jamie says it's irrelevant. I don't think it is. But no, it's not. I wasn't when Jamie said that he felt like they got their guy and he was excited about the hire. At that point, he's right. And I did. I knew nothing about Marcus Freeman. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So no, all my opinions were based off the first 3 games that he coached. And I'm not saying he should be fired. I'm saying I don't think he's going to be the solution that Notre Dame is looking for. It's just an opinion based on what I've seen so far. But I do think it's good that they're at least winning the games right now. They're supposed to win. So that's a good sign. But I think there's a lot of work to be done to establish if he's the guy. I don't think you can make the decision either way after 5 games, right?
No, I agree with that. You can't say whether or not he's a guy. You can't predict the future that well, but
Right.
I'll tell you that I saw a couple interviews with him, and I was impressed by how he spoke and how he was with the players and his background. So I think he's going to do a good job. Whether he's going to be a guy who, is going to put his name on the, Hall of Fame, I don't know that yet, but
He could.
he's a good coach. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not rooting against him. I'm just saying based on what I've seen, that's just my opinion based on 5 games. I never said he should be fired. I said if that trend continued, he should be fired at the end of the season. But I also said there's no way they would fire him. They would give him the 2 seasons or 3 seasons like they do most coaches. But I did say I would question why, because he inherited an established program. He didn't inherit a mess like Auburn did or like some of the coaches Tennessee did when they were a train wreck to another coach who was also a train wreck. So if you inherit a good program, it's your responsibility to keep it moving. That's just not. It's the same thing with A&M. When Kevin Sumlin got fired, A&M was a solid program. They just weren't getting it done. They were losing games they shouldn't win.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
I hear what you guys are saying, but to start the season, we had the wrong quarterback in. And you can say that was a coach's decision or whatever, but Tyler Buckner proved that he cannot fucking play at Notre Dame. He cannot be a quarterback there, right? So
Zach, you can't
but
say
even still, I thought Notre Dame would just outclass most of their opponents.
Yeah.
So when they lost to Marshall,
right,
I was like, uh-oh.
But
they turned it around, so it's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter now.
But look at Alabama when they lost Bryce Young, and that's a huge drop off to say that. But look how bad Alabama looks without their quarterback. So for us, we had a quarterback who wasn't even established, wasn't a Heisman contender. He was leading our offense. He is clearly not the right one. We bring in the backup. Things are correcting themselves. So it's just a bad situation that. And I agree, Notre Dame was established. It's not like Marcus Freeman inherited a bad football team. We have talent everywhere.
Right.
We had some quarterback issues, and you can see how important that position is to a football team. We had major issues there. It's starting to straighten itself out. So, and I'm not saying that Marcus Freeman is, going to be this great coach. And I was happy that he was hired, but he still has, a lot of work to do to put Notre Dame where they need to be.
That's all we're all saying. We're saying the exact same thing. I'm not sure what you're so offended by.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that
I'm not offended. I'm just
we'll see, essentially.
It's always we'll see with everybody.
Right.
Like, Heupel, he's off to a good start at Tennessee, but if he loses his next few games and then next year doesn't do very good, you guys will be saying, fuck this guy. So everything's we'll see. Always. Unless your name is Nick Saban or Dabo Swinney. Always we'll see.
Dabo Swinney sucks.
Oh, Clemson.
I like Dabo. He looks like
we're definitely saying the same thing. I mean, we're saying the exact same. You guys act like I'm calling for. I'm not calling for his job, and I'm not rooting against him either. I'm just saying, based on what I've seen, this is my opinion. And yeah, there's a lot of games to be played and a lot of way to go. That he'll have plenty of time to get evaluated, and he's got games that he can still win. To really, I mean, obviously the expectations were probably playoffs for the Notre Dame fans, so they're not going to reach that, but. He can make some statement wins over USC and Clemson. So there's some games that he can really.
They beat Clemson. They beat USC. His job is secure. I mean,
absolutely, that's a huge turnaround. And then you can say, look, he shitty start, turned it around. That's a game changer.
I feel good about our season. The thing that was lacking on our team was quarterback play. And that issue has been resolved so far. It looks like Drew Pine he can actually play quarterback and he can make plays and lead the team. So we have talent to beat everybody on our schedule.
Yeah.
I agree. You guys have the talent. That's why we're talking about coaching.
And
What like, I don't understand why there's this coaching, like why coaching is the issue of why we lost. And I'm saying that we lost the Marshall game was because the quarterback play was so fucking bad. The quarterback made 0 plays the entire game. If you can't complete passes down the field, you can't beat anyone.
You should have been able to shut out Marshall.
What coaching decision? We gave a pick 6 and an interception. We literally it was all quarterback play. How is that coaching? You guys don't. That's what I'm saying is you guys don't know what you're talking about.
You were playing.
What the fuck are you talking? You keep saying we don't know what we're talking about. Like we never watched a college football game. What are you talking about?
I don't think that you guys, because did you watch the game?
I watched it, but but Jamie, the point is when Tennessee before we won the national title with Phil Manning was playing, Jay Graham was the running back, right? Jamal Lewis was on the bench. Continued to put Jay Graham in the game. He continued to fumble in every big game. Yes, Bill Fulmer wasn't. He's responsible. He had the wrong running back in the game, and I was absolutely furious. I'm like, why is he playing him? He keeps fumbling. This is on him. It's the coach's job to put the right personnel on the field. Yeah, you got to figure it out. Nobody's saying you know Marcus Freeman has to figure out he's not the guy. You don't
100%, but someone just 100%. But someone just said that Marshall shouldn't score on Notre Dame. I think they had one drive where they scored a touchdown. The other ones were pick 6s or we turned the ball over and gave them a short field. All I'm saying is that that's not what happened. Like to blame or to say anything defensively was the reason why we lost to Marshall tells me that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
What are you talking about? I think what everybody's saying is it's on the coach.
You have a dominant team. You have a dominant team compared to Marshall. Should never lose that game, even if you have 4 turnovers.
That's it. That's the bottom line. And I don't care what anybody says, Jamie, you or anybody else. When you lose to Marshall, when Tennessee lost to Georgia Southern or whoever it was, it's the coach. I don't care. You can talk about the players as much as you want. Wrong quarterbacks, wrong receivers, wrong running backs. It's the coach. You're not supposed to lose those games, and that's on the coach.
Especially when you played like you did against Ohio State the week before.
Yeah, well, Ohio State's overrated, but
yeah, that was still a tough game, and they lost 20-10 or whatever.
Absolutely
like,
a tough game. It's a good game.
They have the fucking talent to be a top 5, top 10 team. There's no reason to lose that game.
When Notre Dame comes out of the Ohio State game, I think we all agreed that was as good of a loss as you can have. Notre Dame. I think if you go back and listen to our podcast after that show, I think we all said, yeah, Notre Dame goes chalk the rest of the way, wins out their schedule, they're in the playoff.
Yeah.
Nobody or shit on anything. But then the next week, obviously, the season takes a turn. Yeah.
Well, even now, nobody's shitting on the coaching. Everybody's just saying it was a weird, bad 2 weeks, and they turned it around. So,
you guys just blame coaching.
Yes.
When you have the talent and you lose to Marshall, who the fuck are you going to blame?
Yes.
Besides the coaches.
When
Tennessee lost to Wyoming, when Tennessee lost to fucking Georgia Southern,
so answer me.
Blame the coaches.
Answer me this. Like, I get what you're saying. You should never lose those games. I agree. We should never lose to Marshall. But if, say, the Notre Dame team that played last night with the different quarterback in, does that team lose to Marshall?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, right.
So what coaching is different? Or is it just that the quarterback was swapped out?
Well,
Who
Jamie,
put him as the starter on the roster?
You're giving Freeman all this credit for making the change. Did he make the change or did Buckner get hurt?
I didn't give him credit for making. I didn't say that Marcus Freeman made the change. Tyler Buckner's out for the season for injury.
Right. So you don't even know if you don't even know if Freeman would have made the change had he not have a season-ending injury. So all we're saying is jury's still out on Freeman. Good win, good 3-game collection to get back to 3-2. And it looks like some things have turned, but jury's out on Marcus Freeman. Decision-making has been great, and he lost a game that he never should have lost. In my opinion, lost 2 games he never should have lost. Shouldn't have lost the Oklahoma State game. Not going to get into it. I know you guys don't want to go back to last season.
We're agreeing. We're agreeing on some points, just not everything.
We don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't like the implication that that if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you don't understand the same rules that apply for all coaches. If your team's losing, it falls on the coach always, 100% of the time. Always.
I mean, do you know how much bitching there was about fucking Jeremy Pruitt when Garantano was the starter for 3 years? And every fan in the fucking world was like, why is this guy a quarterback?
Exactly.
But with Notre Dame specifically, with Tyler Buckner and Drew Pine, neither of them were starters. They were both young players.
Yeah.
I was okay with Buckner being the starter.
Yeah.
And it didn't he didn't even play a full season and play shitty all year. He played 2 games. And after the Marshall game, I would hope that the coaches would reassess and say, all right, what's going on? And I don't know if they would have benched Buckner or not. I hope they would have. And I am happy that it kind of took care of itself. You never want someone to be injured, but for our team, it was best that Drew Pine is playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the same situation has happened in Tennessee where Milton was the starter last year, got hurt, and then Hooker came in, who's now a Heisman candidate.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Are you gonna?
Yeah, I mean, coaches fuck up. So
are you gonna blame the coach for putting Milton in at quarterback when he's like, that dude is a freak athletically and he can throw the ball a mile, right?
Yeah.
So he gets injured. Hendon Hooker comes in, and clearly Hendon Hooker's a better quarterback. Like, is that your coach should have known better? Like,
Yes.
would have never known that Hendon Hooker was going to be what he is. He was not good at Virginia Tech.
He might not have known that he's going to be what he is. Well, first of all, I thought he was pretty good at Virginia Tech. Not what he's doing now,
Come on.
but I thought he was functional. He was serviceable. I only saw him play a couple games. I thought
his numbers were dog shit.
whatever. I watched him.
But the coaches are to assess the players, right? They're supposed to assess the players, and
Yes, but Drew.
Well, let me answer your question. You said it. You asked the question: Is that hype? Do I put it on Heupel that he picked Milton over Hooker? And I do. I did when he picked Milton. I'm like, motherfucker, why didn't you pick? I thought Hooker should have been the starter. It's on Heupel, yes.
Based on his Virginia Tech tape.
No, based on the fact that Milton was missing wide open receivers all fucking game, he cost us the pick game.
To start the game, though, to start the season. So in practice, he probably looked awesome.
Yeah.
And you didn't know until he came out, played, and looked like shit. You made the change.
But he didn't make the change by choice. He made it because of an injury. And that's the point.
That's what I'm saying.
And so did Notre Dame.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, did you say Heupel was a dumbass for starting Milton?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. It was a bad decision. If you're watching the guy play and the dude's overthrowing everybody, you're like, why the fuck are we playing this dude? Absolutely.
In the game, when the game has already started, you're saying we need to make a change.
Yes.
When Milton was named the starter, I didn't hear anyone saying Hendon Hooker, because no one thought that he would be this good.
You heard me say it. And don't fucking lie, because as soon as they named Milton the starter, I'm like, I wish they would have started Hooker. I think Hooker's a better quarterback. Yes, it was based on what I saw from Virginia Tech. I thought he was fine. I thought he was serviceable. I thought he could do what he needed to do. Now, and nobody knew what he was going to do what he's doing now.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend to see this coming. But I thought he could be better than Milton.
Who's pretending?
Milton play.
Who's pretending? Are you telling us to not pretend? Because you're the one who's saying that Hendon Hooker was a good quarterback at Virginia Tech, which is total bullshit.
I had conversations with each of you idiots when they named Milton the starter and said, yeah, they should have started Hooker. And the fact that you guys are acting like you can't remember this is unbelievable. I'm like, started Hooker, fucking, that's what I said. And now it doesn't matter. It happens to be that I was right, but I could have been wrong. Milton couldn't lit it up.
We can't even understand what you're saying because your fucking broke ass internet service keeps cutting.
Bitch, you're still using dial-up.
God damn.
Shut the fuck up. You're a crybaby.
Like
you guys won. What are you so bitter about?
I didn't hear what you said because your internet service sucks.
I called you a bitch.
Okay.
Anyway, so are we good on Notre Dame, or we have to spend another 2 hours talking about these fucking dudes?
we're good.
I think everybody's in we'll see mode, and we're all just saying it 10 different fucking ways. So
Yeah, it was a good win. It was a good. We all said it was a
yeah,
good win.
I mean, the Catholics beat the Mormons. Everybody's happy. Let's fucking move on.
This is a good win.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everything was cleared up.
Yeah. Thanks for clearing it up for us. For those that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about because we don't watch. All right, last game was LSU. We beat the dog shit out of them, and I didn't know what to think going into this game because I felt like we should beat them pretty soundly. But everybody I was watching was talking about their defense, and I felt like I was missing something because everybody had this kind of marked as the closest game of the weekend. But so I didn't know what to think coming in, but we really took care of business. I thought we looked great. The third down, we got to get off the fucking field on third downs. Outside of that, I thought we looked really good. Defensively, third downs, we have to improve, but everything else was pretty okay. Well, what was pretty good was pretty good. I was happy with how we looked. You guys have anything on the game?
Yeah, I mean, we spanked their fucking ass. So I was surprised, sort of. I said I thought we would go in and jump on them and not be as forgiving as Auburn and Mississippi State were, but I didn't expect us to dominate the way that we did. I actually felt like their quarterback had a good game, and we still crushed them. And Brian Kelly is a fucking idiot. So how that dude makes millions of dollars a year is beyond me.
So bad. He's so bad.
But
He's so bad.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Our defense on third down alone is an issue, but our offense is firing all fucking cylinders. And Hendon Hooker he's dominant right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And we don't even have Tillman, who's a first round draft pick, and he's just crushing.
Yeah. I look, we have service receivers, that's for sure. So I was pretty happy with the offensively. There's no issues. It's defense and special teams. Listen, let's not forget that we have had some issues where we're a little bit slow getting the ball off. We had a missed field goal yarder, so it was pretty long. I like our field goal kicker.
Oh, it was a 50-yarder and he hit the upright. It wasn't like he whiffed it.
Yeah, no, I like where we're at. I do. Anything that you would talk about would be splitting hairs. Heupel, I saw his post game and he said that he still doesn't think we played as good as we can play. I actually agree with that. I think that we could have played a lot better and we still beat the shit out of them. So there's a lot to be optimistic about. But just like we said about Notre Dame and every team, you got to let's see. That game's done. It was a great game, and we got another big one coming up this weekend with Alabama. So I was pretty happy. Jamie, what did you think about the game?
I thought the game was pretty good, and I thought you guys would win the game. I didn't know that you would beat the shit out of them the way you did. I love the play calling. You guys were able to move the ball on the ground, and I love the fact that your quarterback throws the ball down the field and challenges the DBs for LSU. I thought they could have even done it more than what they did, because every time they did it, they either got a pass interference or a big play. So the offense was great. The defense, I think you guys are being a little too hard, and I can do this too with my team as well, just kind of be nitpicky. But the way you guys played LSU with pressuring the quarterback and getting after him, that was the way I think you should have played against Florida. I think you guys gave Florida a little bit too much credit. And I think if you would have had that same game plan against Florida, I think that game would have been different too. You guys would have probably won a little bit easier. You guys have a good team. Your offense is rolling. And your defense, like, yeah, they do struggle on third down sometimes, but I was impressed with the amount of pressure that they put on the LSU quarterback. And like you guys were saying that I think Zach said that the LSU quarterback had a good game. I mean, I don't know what they scored 10 points, right? Like you guys kicked their ass.
13. But yeah,
he was hitting all kinds of passes that he normally doesn't make, was my point.
Yeah.
He had some good passes, but it wasn't many.
I thought it was a very clean game. I think Hendon Hooker, I think his completion percentage was not as high as what he normally does, but I mean, he was fucking lighting it up. So there was like one drive where there was some weird throws where the offense was kind of not in, like they weren't all on the same page, but
I think he got a nut shot on that drive.
No, he got the wind knocked out of him. Listen, he got his bell rung. That was a hard hit.
He got hit pretty good when the running back didn't pick up the safety blitz. But yeah, overall, I was pretty impressed with Tennessee and what you guys did. I was happy to see your guys' defense be dominant and make plays, because against Florida, they really didn't. They were just kind of letting Florida do their thing and hoping that they mess up. So I like everything. I like the offensive play calls. I like the way the defense played. I really can't say anything bad about the game besides Brian Kelly. He's a piece of shit, and I'm glad he's gone. That's the other thing. Like, besides like all this shit about Freeman, like if you don't like him, you do like him. I'm just glad fucking Brian Kelly's gone. I don't give a fuck who's coaching. Just get his out of it.
I agree. Zach and I were talking about this earlier. I've literally never seen a coach come off the field at halftime and they ask him, what do you think's going on? He said, we got out coached. I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before. That was brutal. And I know what he meant. I know he's not trying not to throw one of his players under the bus.
Yeah.
I get that. But you can't just say, yeah, we got out coached. I mean, that's bad. That's bad. Just to say we all need to do better. Players need to do better. Coaches need to do better. We didn't do our job. Okay. But when you come off the field and say, yeah, we got out coached. You did.
But even saying that, like, that was strange. But what he should have said is, I'm doing a bad job today. Because he was making all the decisions to go for it, to not punt, to all his weird shit, like just gave you guys extra points and took points off the board for them. He's an idiot.
That's what I was gonna say is LSU made multiple bad decisions. Down 10-0, they go for it on 4th and 4. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Take the points.
And
at
that
halftime, you're down 20-7. You don't hit the field goal, you don't punt. You go for it on 4th and 10. Give us 3 more points. That's a 6-point swing.
take a sack too. Take a sack before halftime, put you guys in good field range. And then on the first 4th down where they went for it, they had just like muffed the opening kickoff. It was 10-0 before you could blink, and just stop the bleeding. Just put 3 points on the board and get back and settle in. For him to go for it on 4th and 4 when his offense really wasn't doing anything, and then the play call that they called, he's a fucking idiot.
I agree, he's an idiot. And I watched his post-game interview, watching some of the post-game interviews, and I always do that stuff, whether win or lose. I always kind of go back and watch all the coaches interviewed and see what whatever. So the one thing he said, it's such a cop-out, and it's the exact same thing Harbaugh said last week when he made the decision to go for the touchdown. He said that and I knew he was going to do it. He was like, yeah, well, the analytics said to do this or do that. It's such shit. And these dudes need to get called out. Like, if you're just making decisions based on the analytics, who the fuck needs you? It's crazy. Like, you're the coach. You're the fucking coach.
And not only that, there is no analytic in the world that says don't take the fucking points. Like, there's not.
Especially if you go back to Harbaugh's.
Well,
since the second quarter.
Harbaugh's like, wait, we were trying to score with the game over.
Yeah.
But the thing with analytics, like the analytics, it doesn't take into account the feel for the game, which the coach has to know that. So
correct.
So yeah, maybe like on 4th and 2, the odds say that you can get 2 yards and get a first down, but like you have to know what's going on in the game. How's the momentum? If you don't get it, how's this going to change the game? Like,
exactly.
Be a coach. Being a fucking scientist, like, be a coach.
You're down 10-0. You take the field goal, stymie the momentum, make it 1 possession. That's it. Like,
yeah, it's
like no analytic in the world is going to account for that. The fact that
doesn't matter
on the verge of getting your ass whipped. Like,
it's complete bullshit. Total bull. And look, you can say what we felt like we had to score to, we're going to do it kind of offense, but the bottom line is, if the game is 3-3 or 6-3 in the 4th quarter, and it's 4th and 2 on the 15, maybe the analytics say you go for that. Comments and points are hard to come by, so you take the field goal. Like, the coach's job is to evaluate and assess what's going on in the game and make the decision. This analytics shit, there's nothing wrong with having the information, but you get paid to make the decision. It's so fucking weak. It's so soft.
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing as far as coaching goes. I would have to praise Heupel for the fact that these teams feel pressured into going for it on every 4th down. Like Florida, LSU both did the same thing where they were like, oh shit, we can't stop them, so we have to go for it.
That's a good point. And I mean, like I said last week when we did this, there was no way I thought that Tennessee was going to lose this game at all. I thought it was going to be a easily, I think I said at least two touchdown win, and they beat that bad. It wasn't a contest. Even if they made the couple wrong coaching decisions, it wasn't going to help.
Well, you can scrutinize any. There were coached plays where I'm like, yeah, I don't like that play call, but that's all nitpicky. Like, I agree with Jamie and I agree with Zach. You can nitpick anything that you want to nitpick, but the bottom line is you want to get a big win, and it was a statement win to go into a hostile environment. And Baton Rouge is as hostile as it gets in the SEC. To go in and whip their ass the way we do and see their fans leaving in the 3rd quarter. That you can do is take care of business the way that we did. So I mean, Heupel's pushing all the right buttons at this point. So I hope it continues. But up to this point, I don't have any complaints about the coaching job, especially the fact that I feel like we're doing it undermanned. We don't have the personnel that Georgia, don't have the personnel that Bama has. So what we've been able to do is more impressive, I think, than people even are giving us credit for. Now, how we finished the last 7 games of the season, we'll see. But to this point, to do what we've done, 3 out of 5 games against top 5, and to win this game the most convincingly when you should be developing with the personnel that I think are I would call has more talent than we do. On paper, they have more talent. So does Georgia, Bama, and a lot of these other dudes. So to do what Heupel's doing, he's pushing all the right buttons. I love it.
Yeah, and I want to say, I thought the most impressive part of the game was that we put together an 8-minute drive in the fourth quarter to put it away.
Mhm.
That's sound football. That's what you need to fucking do to win games. Is like you
Close.
control the clock, you control the game. You know, the game tempo is up to us, and we dictated it, and we beat their ass at every level. So
Yeah. The thing with Tennessee too, like Heupel is clearly he gets it on offense. Like the shit that he's doing is impressive, and he controls the game. But also like having Hendon Hooker, except like I think you guys are undermanned. You don't have the top talent like these other teams have. You have good talent, but the fact that Hendon Hooker is playing at the level he's playing at, it accelerates everything. If you have a quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in college football, which Hendon Hooker is, it takes care of a lot of things. So
With that, no disagreement here. What were you going to say, Earl?
No, he's right. I mean, I do think though that you're yes, you could be undermanned in your talent, but you have good talent, like Jamie said. That's what I was.
No, I don't want to cut you off. I just want to be clear. When I say undermanned, I'm talking about against
SEC.
the Bamas, the Georgias, the top tier teams. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, they've been recruiting top 5 for 20 years. So
Right.
did you say that LSU has more talent?
They do.
I think they do. Yeah.
I would agree with that, but the difference is their quarterback
It's
isn't
a
as
bum.
good, and coaching is very lopsided and that. So coaching and quarterback, I think, puts Tennessee on a whole different level than LSU is. Because I think they do still have good talent, but that quarterback is not very good, and their coach is the worst in the nation. So
Well, Daniel Orlovsky was like jacking off to Heupel. Like he was like, look at these split wideouts. These receivers are wide open. And he was
Did
like
you
drawing shit all over the screen.
Did you see when Orlovsky drew the touchdown play before it happened? I'm like, what the fuck? Like he literally drew the line of where the receiver's going to go before the play happened. That's exactly where the receiver went, and it was a touchdown.
the only thing he didn't do before the play was say that the DB was going to fall over.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah, that's crazy to go down too.
I know we don't want to get too into the specifics, but when we got that stop on fourth down at the midfield and threw that touchdown pass the next play, that was my favorite play call the whole game. Because that was exactly when we were like, go to the end zone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Hooker just dropped a dime. Like that was a beautiful pass.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody in the world knew that play was coming. Everybody.
Yeah.
As soon as we got the stop, I told Jamie, we were sitting on the couch. I said, we're going for the end zone right here. Because every coach that goes for the jugular, the way these offensive-minded coaches do, you know that play's coming. So
Right.
the fact that the way they did is unbelievable.
Yeah. And the pass was perfect. I mean,
The pass
Yeah.
the pass was perfect. And the other thing too, like I know you guys have Tillman's out, but Brew McCoy, he's been playing awesome. He's a big receiver. He can make plays. And the Hyatt kid, he's fast. So he can get
Yeah.
behind the DB and make
Yep.
plays. You guys have some pieces. Your offense is, and even small, the running back was breaking big runs, and LSU does have a good D-line and good defense. So
Yes.
a lot of good things to be excited about.
yeah,
Yeah.
that dude on our defensive line, I think his name is Bryce Young or something. He's number 6. He's a monster.
Yeah. Did you hear his story?
Oh, the one that was working at Chick-fil-A or something?
I can't remember where he was working at, but he seen like some paper that said,
Flyer.
yeah, like try out for football at some like small college. So he went, and then he worked his way all the way to Tennessee. He's a captain on your team. He had like 2 sacks yesterday. He was all over the quarterback all day. It was impressive.
On fourth down, he was the one that got that sack. He was a beast.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a great game. We did exactly what we should have done, and I think what we needed to do coming into the Bama week. I think if we struggle in that game or we don't look that sharp, it's really scary coming into this coming weekend. But all you could do is exactly what we did. I was pretty happy with the game for sure.
What do you guys think of Bryce Young? Because I think that he's not hurt and he was just resting, but Dad seems to think
No, he's 100. No way they sit him. That game was close. There's no way he's hurt.
Yeah, he's definitely hurt. Like Saban probably wanted to beat Jimbo by 40 points, so he definitely he would have definitely played him if he was healthy.
So you think he's playing next week?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think he's playing. I don't see why he would. He's
I
not.
don't either.
He's gonna be a draft pick. Like he's already a millionaire. Like
What have they said about his shoulder?
They don't. It's day to day. They said it's some kind of tendon joint sprain. I don't remember what they called it, but it's basically a sprain of the joint. But it's his throwing shoulder. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really fuck around with it. And even if it feels okay, if it's already sprained and irritated, I mean, if you come back too soon, you're going to fuck it up on the first throw. They can't mess around. They can't mess around with his future either. So, I mean, I'm sounding like a fan because look, I hope the motherfuckers. I hope he can't play. I'm not saying I want him to be injured, but I would much rather go against the backup. And I don't give a shit. You know how many times we had to face Alabama with our backup? You know, our quarterback got knocked out in the Florida game and couldn't play. So I could give two shits about, you know, we just want.
Will you guys be able to stop a running quarterback?
Oh yeah, we're gonna spank that ass.
Yeah,
Good.
Our run defense is solid.
hey, I remember when Notre Dame beat Clemson with their backup quarterback. They're discrediting it and
mute this motherfucker.
so
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there. But I agree. Like for Tennessee's sake, I would rather go against the backup. But I also think that if Bryce Young does play, you guys can win that game. So
Yeah,
I agree. Our offense is fucking high powered. So
And I think that's the big problem that's going to happen. You guys can put up 40 points, and I don't think Alabama's, whether their defense is a little bit shaky this year or not, but they're not going to be able to keep up with the scoring as you guys do. I don't.
Look, Alabama can score. The Alabama games, and they can score. Now, Bryce Young being in is a huge game changer because he can throw the ball over the field. And my concern, I agree. I think if we get a shootout, we can beat anybody. But with the defensive secondary issues we have, and our issues are in the secondary. With Bryce Young playing, it's a completely different game versus the backup that they have. Completely different. I'm not saying that I don't think we can, but it's a much different given what I've seen from our secondary.
Your run defense is stronger, so that's good going against
very strong.
this this will also be a step up for a defensive talent that you're going against too. Because LSU's defense was good, Florida's defense is good, Alabama's defense is good. They have athletes everywhere. They have the Williamson kid, they have the Dallas Turner kid. Like this is going to be a step up in competition. It'll be good to see what your guys' offense can do against them. You know, if you guys,
I can't believe game day is coming back again. That's
Yeah,
weird.
that's pretty crazy.
yeah, I know that the game day. It is cool that you guys got.
I mean,
back.
Corso, he's dead, but he'll be on the stage, I'm sure. So.
What are you saying, Jamie?
I think it's cool that game day's back in Knoxville again. Was it 2 times in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I'm not really into game day, but obviously that national recognition is important. It matters to a lot of people, and it is pretty exciting. I'll actually be more excited to see it on TV, just getting to see Knoxville on television, since I won't be at the game, than I was when we were there. Like when we were there, we didn't even go see the game day, and we didn't see any of that crap. We just don't. I don't have a lot of interest in it, but it was pretty cool. I was getting a lot of text messages from people that are looking at it and talking about Knoxville and this and that. So, I mean, from a national perspective, it's pretty cool, but and it will be exciting. It's going to be a great game, and we'll get into that when we do our picks for next week, the next episode. But look, I mean, 5 games in, all you can do is be 5-0, and we are. Pretty good start to the season so far.
You want to recap
so,
the NFL real quick?
Yeah, it should be really quick because it was a really pretty brutal day.
Did you guys see? I just want to say because I know I'm surprised you didn't bring this up since you are biggest cheerleader. Their running back had 320 yards and 6 touchdowns yesterday.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm not Pitt's cheerleader. Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Oh, speaking of random shit in college football, did you guys fucking see Texas, Oklahoma?
Oh,
That was a fucking embarrassment.
yeah.
49 to nothing.
Yes.
Oklahoma was 3-0. They were ranked number 5 or
Yeah.
6. And then they didn't just fall off the railroad. They destroyed the shit.
Yeah. So Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator from Clemson, comes over and takes over Alabama, and he just gets lit up. I mean, this dude, Oklahoma sucks. So Venables will be gone. I think at the end of this year, Oklahoma's not putting up with this shit.
It's probably because his name sounds like testicles.
Not really.
Venables? Testicles?
No, that's a stretch. All right.
All right, erase it.
All right. So
Yeah.
I'm not erasing it. You got to own it. You made the bad. You guys made me own it. So you got to own it.
Just make the noise. It's all good.
Woo!
All right. So I do want to, there's a couple things I do want to talk about. One is Broncos and the Colts.
Oh my God.
Come
this
on,
was
man. We already watched it. Do we have to talk about it? Come on. I don't want to. I'm about to drop off this bitch. If you guys are talking about it, I'm out.
Ain't that the truth? And how bad is Russell Wilson? Did you guys watch the game at all?
A little bit. Do you think that's coaching or that he's just like got his payday and he's like, fuck off?
No. He looks bad, man. I was at the casino because I ended up in a poker tournament. But while I was destroying people in poker, I was trying to keep an eye on the game, but it was so fucking boring. But Russell Wilson, I was really struck by how many balls were behind receivers, overthrown. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I couldn't believe how bad he looked.
That one pick where he overthrew the guy and the Colts safety just caught it.
That was terrible.
That was amazingly bad.
Yeah, he just like even turned his back when he threw it.
It's crazy.
He had almost 300 yards passing. I mean,
Who cares?
I know they look bad. They can't score.
They're terrible. And I thought they would be a serious contender by adding Wilson. The Seahawks look much better than the Broncos do.
Yeah.
What does that say about Russell Wilson? What does that say about the Broncos? I mean, are you serious? You know, the Seahawks are doing more damage than the Broncos. It's bad. It's a bad look, man. Bad look. I feel bad for Russell Wilson. I've always liked Russell Wilson, but
I don't feel bad for the motherfucker. He's worth $500 million.
he's done though.
He's not getting any sympathy. That's for damn sure.
I like Russell Wilson. Anyway, so rest of the scores: Texans beat the Jags in a game that I don't think anybody cares about. Titans beat the DC 21-17. That pretty competitive game. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Tennessee. We're not very good. The Titans I'm talking about. Falcons and Bucks was a crazy game. Did you guys see the answer call on Tom Brady
No.
to essentially end the game? So the Falcons had gotten the stop. The guy sacked Tom Brady. They called it, basically said it was the sack was excessive, called unnecessary roughness. It was brutal. It was a brutal call. Gave the Bucks the first down and they ran the clock out. It was fucking brutal. You guys should watch it on YouTube if you want. They said he slammed Brady down, but it was a straight up sack. It was fucking brutal. Terrible way for the Falcons to lose the game. So anyway, the Falcons did lose by 6. Jets beat the Dolphins, the Tua-less Dolphins. And actually the Dolphins backup quarterback got hurt. They said that he had a head injury and his elbow. So apparently in Miami, every time you hurt your head, you also hurt another part of your body.
Well, at least
He banged his head. Elbow hurts.
at least they listed the head on this one because before.
Yeah.
So they're getting there.
Oh, so he went out. Another. Seahawks lost by a touchdown to the Saints. That was a pretty crazy game, 39-32. I think Taysom Hill played the whole game and actually played pretty well. Patriots beat the shit out of the Lions 21-0. I don't know what happened to the Lions. They've been scoring, but not today.
29.
Huh?
29.
That's what I said.
You said 21.
I said 29.
Okay.
You said-
Either way. All right.
It's a
29.
shutout either way, so.
Yeah. Vikings over the Bears by a touchdown. Chargers beat the Browns by 2. And then Bills, man, suck. The Steelers suck. Earl,
What
you guys definitely, I'm picking the Ravens to sweep the Steelers this year. So,
What about the Packers losing to the Giants in London?
yeah, I don't really count the London games. I feel like if you're not going to play in the United States, I'm not talking about you.
I hear you, but like, fuck Aaron Rodgers, right? Like that dude's a bitch.
Can't stand him. And what's he doing with his hair? He's like committed to having some fucked up hair every year.
Every year. And hey, he wins the prize, believe me.
Yeah, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think hair is somewhere where you guys want to go talking shit because you guys are all bitches. So just pipe down.
Jamie wore a hat this time, so we can't see his big ass forehead.
You can say anything you want about Aaron Rodgers, just stay away from the hair.
The dude's a hippie. He's weird.
Yeah, he's weird.
He's weird. He's an asshole too.
I like him. I don't know why you don't like him. Maybe because you guys are similar.
No, Aaron Rodgers is a fucking asshole. He's a fucking asshole. Absolutely.
Great quarterback, but total douche.
Yeah, just like Tony.
Whatever. All right, other games going on. Eagles are up 14-10. Cowboys are up 16. Rams and Niners are putting it on the Panthers pretty good. That's about it.
Man.
Tonight, Ravens and Bengals. We already did our picks, but let's go ahead and talk about it since they haven't played yet. Earl, how you feel about the game tonight?
I believe we're going to win. Ravens are going to win. It's going to be close. I hope we put some pressure on the damn Burrows because every other team can. God damn.
The motherfucker's been sacked like 50 times this year.
I know. So. If we don't get at least 2 or 3 sacks, fuck them. I will be so damn pissed.
Earl, when you say fuck them, who you talking about?
All of them.
The whole Ravens organization?
The whole Ravens organization. If they can't put some pressure on that quarterback, fuck the coaches and the players.
Yeah, you need more than 3 sacks to beat Burrow, and they don't have any offensive line. Burrow gets his ass whipped every week, which I think makes it more impressive what he does, man. Right. He gets the shit kicked out of him. But Earl, give me a score prediction for the game.
I'm gonna go 31-27, Ravens.
Okay, Jamie.
I actually think the Bengals are just gonna kick their ass. I think the Bengals win by 10 plus. And I think like Burrow's line has been pretty shitty, but they are getting better. I don't know what that really says about them, but they're getting better. Their last game, Burrow was able to stand in the pocket. He had some time. He made some throws. So I just think the Bengals are just better. Burrow's better. And then if there can be a decision that can be fucked up, John Harbaugh will do it. So,
well, no, it's not Harbaugh. It's the analytics. Zach,
I got Bengals 38-28.
38-28. I got the Bengals. Earl, I know. In all seriousness, I got the Bengals like 38-17. I don't think it's close. I do think the Bengals have struggled, but they really seem to own the Ravens, and so. I got to see the Ravens before I have any faith in what they can do. Burrow has really they take the series personal. I think the Bengals really take personal. At least some of the interviews, the post-game interviews I heard with Burrow last year, they seem pretty pissed about the some of the commentary. So
especially if you're worried about the Ravens secondary. I mean, Jamar Chase is gonna have a field day.
Higgins too.
Yeah, I think this is where Lamar has to be able to throw the ball because it's going to be, if you want to get into a shootout, and I think this is the kind of game that gets them into trouble. Now, if the Ravens can control the line of scrimmage and keep it to a run game and possess the ball, then yeah, it'll be a close game. But I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think they'll be able to stop Burrow. I think they put it on them, and that's my score, 38-17.
I mean, but 17, that's way low. I mean.
Well, it's because I know the Ravens can score. The reason I'm picking that score is because I think once the Ravens have to play from behind and start throwing, I don't think Lamar is nearly as effective as he is running the ball. And so that's why I think that they don't score as many because they have to change their style of offense to play catch up. I don't think he's suited for that.
Do you guys think the Eagles are legit or just happen to be the last undefeated team?
They seem pretty good. I haven't watched a whole lot of them, but I mean,
They have a good roster.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw Jalen Hurts talking all kinds of shit on TV. So
I'm not going to say they're legit. I think their conference is weak. I mean, what do they have? They have a beat over the Lions.
I was gonna say they had the Cowboys, Redskins, and Giants. So
But they beat the Jags, DC, Vikings, and Lions. The Lions are scoring a lot of points. Vikings are a legit team. I mean, the Vikings are a good team. Not legit.
That's a good win.
DC sucks, and they beat the shit out of DC. And then the Giants are playing pretty well, and they beat them by a touchdown. I think that those are all respectable wins. I don't think there's anything great there, but they're respectable. What's wrong?
nothing. I think they're solid, but I think they'll get knocked out first round of the playoffs. That's all.
No, I don't think so.
I think their only good win is against Minnesota right now. I mean, Detroit just got shut out.
Yeah, that's fair. The teams that they played, it's not impressive, but it's not like they haven't beat anyone either. Like the Vikings is a good win, and they're beating teams convincingly. It's not like they're fucking around with these teams. They're putting them away.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to talk shit. I was just saying I'm not sold on them. That's all.
Right?
Yeah, and Zach, like, I think their roster is good, and they could be a contender. But if they lost in the first round, I wouldn't be surprised because Jalen Hurts, like, he's playing good this year. But if he was to have a dud in the first round of a playoff, I wouldn't be surprised at that. And if they lost, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I actually would, to be honest. I think the Eagles are pretty good. I like Hurts too. Hurts isn't the best passer in the world, but I think he's decent, a decent enough passer. And no. I would be surprised if they took a first round exit. I think they're. I mean, who do you like more in the NFC right now?
Well, I'm not saying that Hurts sucks or anything. I'm just saying he's still young. He hasn't been doing it for a long time. He's having success right now. I think Hurts is great. I like the way he leads the team. I love the way he plays for the Eagles and fits in that system. But I mean, I don't know if the NFC contenders are
weak.
I think they're weak too.
The NFC is not super strong this year, but like if a traditional team, like say the Niners and the Eagles match up first round, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Niners beat the Eagles.
That's a good point. And that I'll agree with. But if the Eagles were to play like the Rams or the Cards or something like that, I think I would be surprised if they lose that game.
Well, even the Rams too. Like the Rams just won the Super Bowl last year. They have a ton of talent. Like they're struggling right now. I'm not sure what's going on, but if the Rams beat the Eagles first round of the playoffs, I mean, would you be surprised at that? I wouldn't.
It's not that I would be surprised the Eagles to win. I think the Eagles are a pretty decent team, and I think the NFC is super weak.
Yeah, the Eagles are. They have a great roster, and they're undefeated. They're the last undefeated team. They're playing great. I'm just saying, in the playoffs, a lot of weird shit happens.
And I'll tell you what I think is wrong with the Rams is that shitty ass coach. I think he's a terrible coach.
I mean, right now the Rams and the 49ers are one of the lowest scoring teams in the NFL. They are.
Who?
The 49ers and the Rams. They've scored 70 points, 71 in the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, I just don't.
What's that?
I was the one who said that I thought the NFC was pretty strong coming into the season. I was dead wrong. The NFC is super weak.
Yeah.
There's nobody dominating. The Buccaneers do not look good. Brady doesn't look good. The Vikings are very average. The 49ers are very average. The Rams are doing actually exactly what I thought they would do. They would drop way off. There's nobody.
Yeah, I mean, they got their ring, so.
Listen, their coach is bad, man. He's bad. They had to load that team up to win that Super Bowl because he sucks. He fucking sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, a dominant defensive line is crucial for a Super Bowl team. So,
is it with that coach? Is it just what he's done at the Rams, or like did something happen before between you guys, or is it the Campbell's commercials? What is it?
I don't know the Campbell's commercials either, but
the Broncos have scored more than the Rams and the 49ers.
They played an extra game though, right?
No, I'm talking about.
Nobody's had a bye.
No, but the Denver already played. They played Thursday and they put up what,
And
9?
they put their scores up right.
Yeah, that 9 points was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Broncos put up 9 points. We're like, yeah, motherfucker. 3 field goals, bitch. Anyway, whoever's got Denver's field goal kicker in fantasy is fucking crushing. But no, I don't like. He's a terrible, terrible decision maker. I can't stand when people pump up coaches that win a title or win a bunch of games and they just is a great coach. Brian Kelly's a perfect example. I hear people all the time say, well, we know that Kelly's a great coach. I'm like, how do you know that? What the fuck has he done?
Yeah, but those people are stupid because, like, I'm the biggest Notre Dame fan and I've been bitching to you about Brian Kelly for 5+ years. He's not a good coach. Never was.
No, I agree. But the thing that irritates me is like, hey, you said it to anybody, yeah, I think he's a shitty coach. Be like, what are you talking about? He just won the Super Bowl last year. The team fucking loaded. Philip Fulmer won the national title for Tennessee, and I'm glad that he did. But we had to have the best team in the fucking world to compensate for his bad coaching. I mean, bad coach is a bad coach. You can win in spite of a bad coach, but call it what it is. Don't call him a great coach. You know, they won in spite of you, not because of you.
Yeah, with McVay, I don't necessarily think he's a bad coach like you're saying, but I wouldn't say he's a great coach just because he won a Super Bowl. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, he's a bum.
Because
There's
there's been some shitty coaches that have won championships.
goddamn right.
Right?
Yeah.
Damn right. I don't like Harbaugh, but I think Harbaugh is a good. And listen, the Ravens are good. You have to give that kind of credit to the coach, right? Now, this analytic shit that he's doing now, I can't. It's so stupid. It's ridiculous. But yeah, a coach that sort of sustains and gets it done year in, year out. You got to give them their props. But a team that's loaded with talent and underachieves every year, like Les Miles at LSU, don't tell me they're a great coach. Like Brian Kelly at Notre Dame with all the talent they had over the years. Don't tell me don't tell me his winning record. I can watch the game too. I see the bad decisions he makes. I see the dumb he does. So the team wins anyway. And all you want to say is, oh, he's, when it works out, they're like, oh, what a mastermind. He's crazy. He'll do anything. Look at the way he's a gambler. He likes to roll the dice. No, he's a fucking idiot. You're calling him a gambler because it worked out. If it doesn't work out, you call him an idiot. Les Miles, I watched call a play. They needed a field goal to tie.
Oh my God, that was the worst fucking decision ever.
They needed a field goal to tie. They're on the 13-yard line. They run a play that runs the clock out
9 seconds left.
to throw the touchdown to the end zone. They score. So everybody's like, boy, he's a gambler. Like he really rolled the dice and he got. It was a horrendous decision. Horrendous. You just gave away if you can complete that pass. But, if you ask anybody today, oh, Les Miles is a great coach. It was unfortunate scandal, blah, blah, blah. No, he sucked. He always sucked. But LA was loaded. So they won anyway. It drives me crazy. And McVay's one of those dudes. He's got a team that's fucking loaded. To be honest, they should have, 3 Super Bowls by now? What he's done with these running backs, I don't understand.
The Rams?
Yeah.
No.
They should have 3 Super Bowls.
They lost to the fucking Patriots 10-3 in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the offensive genius 10-3
Well,
or 13-3 or whatever it was.
yeah, I mean that game, I guess you could say that they could have won the Super Bowl, but when the Chiefs won their year, the Chiefs were the best team. The Bucks were the best team when they won. So I don't know where these Super Bowls are coming from.
and Andy Reid is a great coach. I don't like him actually, but he's a good coach.
I love Andy Reid, man.
I like Andy Reid too. What the fuck? You don't like his mustache or what?
He didn't do shit at the Eagles for 20 years.
I like
Yes, he did.
He was good with the Eagles.
They lost in 4 NFC championships. They didn't do shit.
They went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and got their ass whipped.
Andy Reid is a great coach. I love when the people dress up like him on Halloween. And then no, but they
with the menus.
Yeah, they always use a food menu for the play call sheet.
I like Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid's a good coach. Not a great coach. Good coach.
After they won the Super Bowl, he said he was going to eat a cheeseburger. Like that's real.
Who's your favorite? And who do you think is the best coach in the NFL? Earl, don't pick John Harbaugh. Somebody different. Who do you guys think is the best coach in the NFL right now?
Right now,
I would have to go with Belichick, even though the Patriots are dog shit.
Fuck
No. The question, don't say who's the best coach, because Belichick has the best resume, of course, but if you were an NFL owner, who do you want coaching your team?
Okay, fair enough. Earl?
I like Reed. I've always liked him.
Okay. Jamie?
I like Tomlin. He's probably my favorite coach, just the way that he is with his players, and he doesn't bullshit. He just calls it like it is. He doesn't put up with any nonsense. I think the Steelers as a whole, like, I love their organization. So I would say Tomlin.
Zach?
Yeah, I was gonna go with the Dolphins coach because he puts guys in who are dead. So
Right. He'll play anybody. I would bring back Urban Meyer and have him as my coach.
I like.
I need somebody I can hang out with at the bar after the game and have some beer.
Urban Meyer's like, can I get 20 boneless and a thumb up the ass?
Right,
I do like Tomlin, Jamie, and I think he's a good coach, but I did not like when he literally came onto the field and bumped our receiver, try to get in his way.
I like that too. Though. I like that too. Like
that was a long time ago. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of dirty. That's kind of
no, it was very dirty. I was at the game.
Yeah.
It was very dirty.
He definitely have done that.
When he did that, that sort of left a bad taste in my mouth. But I do think, the players like him. I do think he's a disciplined coach, and he has a good even keel when it comes to discipline and a player's coach. He's
yeah.
good.
I like Tomlin too.
Yeah, I was kidding. Tomlin's the guy I would start with. I like Tomlin, and it is the way he presents. I think I want a coach that is in control. I don't want a hothead. I don't want somebody who loses their shit. Like and not to keep going back to Tennessee, but that's why I like him. He's in control. He never seems to lose his composure, and that's how Tomlin is. He's always in control.
Hey,
and I like that. The shit that he did with fucking Bear. I mean, come on, it was just it was dirty. He got penalized, but come on, I mean, it is what it is.
Since you went back to Tennessee, can we talk about Kenny Pickett?
Oh yeah. Because I like Pickett.
He's on fire.
Obviously,
yeah, he's on Fuego.
His first start was against the Bills, which is tough. But I think this is what you're gonna see from Kenny Pickett. I think he's a scrub.
The dude's a bum. He's a bum.
Why do you guys think? Did you guys watch him play? Did you guys watch the game?
I saw their 3-point performance and their fucking 0-point performance.
Yeah, this is actually a game and a performance where you don't really have to say, did you see the game? You could just look at the score and say, this guy didn't do his job.
There's a YouTube video that says Kenny Pickett's passes up until his first interception is 10 seconds long.
Highlight tape.
I mean, he threw it 52 times. They threw the ball a lot that game.
What's what's the stat line today?
It was 34 for 52, 327 yards, and 1 interception.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing. He had 0 TDs. That's what's wrong.
The Steelers suck, and some of them. Listen, he threw some balls to the end zone that were barely out of bounds. They weren't bad passes. They were inches out of bounds. He looked good. I watched him play.
They scored 3 points, bitch.
The team sucks. Their team.
He's the quarterback. You can't say the team sucks and
he's
the
quarterback.
good.
This is
I don't even think the Steelers. I don't know. Like they have good receivers. They have a good running back. Their defense isn't bad.
Their team is fucking terrible. Their team is terrible. They got lit.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with their team's terrible.
No one was picking the Steelers to beat the Bills, but everybody was picking the Steelers to score more than 3 points. So
no, Russell Wilson is inexcusable for scoring a touchdown. Kenny Pickett in a rookie start against what's probably the best team in the NFL, who has 300.
They're not the best defense in the NFL.
Huh?
Bills
yes, they do.
They're the top 3
defense in the NFL.
Oh my God, they're not the best defense. They're solid.
Bills are good. They have some guys out, but Bills have a good defense.
And even still, they should score a touchdown regardless.
The Bills have the best defense in the NFL.
Well, I'm just saying the way that you've been sucking Kenny Pickett's dick,
Oh,
And then,
seriously.
and then you read a stat line with no touchdowns anywhere in the stat line. Go fuck yourself, man.
I watched him play. I watched the game. He looked good.
Come on, man. If that was your quarterback at Tennessee, you'd be like, this guy fucking sucks.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh my
Say,
God. There is no world where our quarterback scores 3 points and you don't say he sucks.
All right. Let's move on to the fillator of the week.
What a
Earl, who's got one ready?
I want to go last. So,
You always go last. Why do you always go last?
because I have multiple fillators.
it's his segment.
It is his segment. Who's your fillator, Jamie?
I don't know. I wasn't ready for that.
Earl.
I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos. Really, their whole team sucks. I mean, okay, I won't say they suck. They have underperformed by a lot.
You won't say they suck?
They
suck,
have
bro.
underperformed. That's
They
why
suck.
they're in the later
Okay.
of the week.
All right. So the Denver Broncos suck. Form. Wow. All right, Jamie, who you got?
I think I am gonna go with whoever called the last play of the A&M Alabama game. I just
Good.
thought that was like you have a chance to beat the number one team, and you guys weren't even projected to be in the game, 20-point underdogs, and that's the shit you come up with. Like, grow a pair of fucking nuts. I thought it was some bullshit. I was disappointed. Fuck that guy.
100%. That's a great fillator. Zach, are you ready or you want me to go?
You can go.
All right, my fillator of the week. And I hate to give it to him because it worked out in our favor, but the fillator of the week is Brian Kelly. I mean, listen, the decisions he made, passing up on the field goal, going for it on fourth down, when you know that we're going to score if you don't get that first down, the decisions were atrocious. And I think he's a terrible coach. He's my fillator of the week.
Yeah, you actually stole mine. I was going to say Brian Kelly and then the Arkansas coach. Arkansas was preseason ranked. They were top 10 at one point, and they've imploded to getting embarrassed every week.
Well, it's the SEC. I mean, that really is what happens in the SEC. If you're not as strong as people think, you're going to get exposed in this conference. It's the way it is. I wouldn't make him a fillator, but it's your choice.
I thought Arkansas would be like 10-2. They've fucking sucked a dick.
I never did.
I have a question for you guys before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So the AP poll, right?
Yeah.
Notre Dame lost to Marshall. So anything that happens to us, we deserve it. If you don't handle your business, you deserve whatever you get, right?
Yeah.
So Notre Dame's not ranked again, which I have no issue with that. But when I'm looking at the bottom where it says the teams that got votes, North Carolina and BYU received more votes than Notre Dame. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, a couple weeks ago, Utah was rated higher than Florida after Florida beat them. Like, the shit makes no sense.
But BYU, we just fucking beat them the night before this poll came out. BYU has 2 losses. Their 2 losses are to us. So we have the head-to-head, and they lost to Oregon. We lost to Ohio State, who's number 2, and we lost to Marshall, which is bad. Like, I get it. And I'm not even saying, like, we should be ranked or this or that, because, like I said, you lose to Marshall, everything you get, you deserve it. But to see that come out, like, we beat North Carolina, we beat BYU. They both have more votes than us, and they both have – it's not even like they have 1 loss. They both have 2 losses. We have 2 losses. I thought it was strange.
Yeah,
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree. And actually, my other fillator of the week was going to be Oklahoma's coach. Losing 49-0 in a rivalry game, get on the fucking boat and get out of town, bitch.
The boat.
Hey, in Oklahoma.
Yeah, they're in Oklahoma. Swim your ass down the river.
That's the landlocked state.
Right. You gotta get on the schooner,
Yeah.
scooter, whatever that.
Sorry, get on your fucking wagon
Get on
and
the
roll out of
carriage.
town.
Get on the wagon.
Get on the boat.
It's
You
the fucking
get on
red
that
rivalry or
boat.
whatever, bitch.
I mean, he get on
Hey.
the boat. He ain't going nowhere to a
Zach.
Lakers.
Zach, one of the analysis, they said this is the red wedding. It's not the red river rivalry. That shit was so funny.
Yeah.
That sounds like an RG3 joke. He's been on fire.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
RG3 is going to
Fuego.
get fired. He says way too many outlandish things. He's going to get him in trouble.
I think people like it.
Yeah, until he crosses the line. And when you say shit like he says, it won't be long.
Yeah, that's true.
It won't be long. Anyway, look, I want to ask you guys before we wrap this up, because we're like to wrap up here the next minute or two. But
We've gone
AP has us at 6. You guys think fair? And again, Jamie, I'm with you on the AP stuff. I think it's ridiculous. These writers are ridiculous that vote on these things. So I don't put a lot of stock. It gives you something to talk about, but it's completely worthless. But they got us at 6. They moved us in front of USC, Oklahoma State. We're behind Michigan, Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, and Georgia. Any issues? Agree, disagree?
I'm not sure if we're that good, but there's also nowhere else to go. So,
Earl?
No, I agree that you guys should have jumped Oklahoma State and probably USC. USC I think is pretty good, but I'm no problem with you guys jumping. I have a problem with Clemson jumping Michigan though.
Yep. What do you think, Jamie?
Well, I think that since we're a few weeks in, I think we should start adding to our show. We should do our top 4 teams. And I think if I was to give you my top 4 teams right now, Tennessee would be in the top 4, just based on the teams that they've beat and the fact that Michigan and Clemson have played nobody and they've struggled in a lot of their games. Like, get those fucking guys out of there. I wish the poll was more fluid and they actually looked at what happened and made the team rankings by that. Because I think if you say, you know, who are your top 4 teams? My top 4 teams right now, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and I throw Ohio State in there just because I think that they have a ton of talent. They haven't really played anyone, but they would be my 4th best team.
That's the same 4 I have. I agree. And so I think these polls are worthless. I really do. But if you look at the resume, nobody else, I haven't looked that closely at every team. I would be surprised if any other team has already beaten three top 25 teams in the first 5 weeks of the season. So we have the best resume so far.
well, especially after Georgia struggled with Missouri, Bama struggled with A&M, they struggled with Texas.
Well, they penalized Bama. Bama dropped. They dropped to
They
number
have.
3 from number 1. And then they did move us up in front of Oklahoma State, USC, which they absolutely should have. They never should have been in front of us to begin with. But there's this thing with Clemson, Michigan, these big brand teams, they don't fuck with them. And I don't like it.
Yeah, and I think Michigan is getting the benefit of the doubt because they beat Indiana's ass on the scoreboard. But that game was 10-10 at halftime. Like, no one's acknowledging that part of it, that they struggled. for a half.
Michigan hasn't looked impressive this year. Clemson also hasn't looked impressive. So, and I think that the thing with that, like, if you're talking about Michigan and Clemson in particular, they're keeping Clemson up there that's the ACC's only hope. And then you have Ohio State and Michigan, which I think we all kind of know, unless Penn State can knock Michigan off this upcoming weekend, I think it's going to come down. The Big Ten comes down to Michigan and Ohio State, right?
As usual. Yeah.
Keep those 2 teams in the top 5 as long as you can keep that way. Then that's a big game, and the loser will drop out. The winner will probably make the playoff because they'll win the Big Ten.
Yep. The complete bullshit. I can't stand it. And that and the reputation. So they're supposed to look at it this season, but these writers, they know what they've been over the recent years. They're undefeated, so they stick them in. It's really, I get that people can't watch every game. I mean, I watch a shitload of college football, and it's hard to. There's so many games, and I have multiple TVs going at one time, but you can only see so much. But goddamn, I mean, look at something before you fucking vote. Are you serious? It makes sense. But
I think that Tennessee definitely has a case for best resume based on wins. I think Georgia also, I know they've struggled recently, but what they were doing at the beginning of the season was impressive, and they clearly have a ton of talent, and they got to be the favorite to win the championship right now. But yeah,
you still think right now Georgia's the favorite to win the championship?
They have to be.
Yeah.
You still think that after the struggles the last couple of weeks?
They have to be. Who would you put above them?
I don't. I honestly don't know. I haven't put any thought into it, but I can't make them the favorite. So a couple of weeks ago into the season, I said you take one of these 3 teams of the field because I was pissed off that somebody said you got to take one of those 3 teams. You guys still think you take one of these 3 teams of the field, or you got the field? I still have the field. I don't think the favorite to win the national title at this point. They've struggled too much.
I think that I was the one that said I would take Georgia over the field. And
Yeah.
since then, Georgia has looked beatable, but I still think they're the favorite. Now, if you gave me that bet, field or Georgia, I would probably take the field just because there's been so much chaos and Georgia hasn't looked strong. But Georgia's still my favorite to win the championship.
But
All right, Zach,
even
you're still your
so-
favorite too.
Yeah, I would say Georgia has to be the favorite if you're going to pick a single team.
You're a
I mean,
favorite.
if you're going to go single team or field, then I would say field just because I think the season's going to be crazy. But if you have to pick a team, I think it has to be Georgia.
Okay, Earl.
I would go with Georgia too. But I mean, it's still Alabama's struggled. Ohio State's really hasn't played anybody big yet. Clemson's, they're okay. Michigan hasn't really impressed anyone. I think you have Tennessee looks the best, really.
Well, we've looked the best, but I have watched Georgia and Bama, and I in terms of playing cleaner games, better games, other than the Texas game, Bama looks the best team. I know they've had some struggles too, just like Georgia has, but just watching them play, Bama's better than them.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot for my fillators of the week. I wanted to pick Kentucky, who lost to fucking South Carolina,
Oh yes, we forgot to
Oh,
talk about
man.
that game.
Yeah,
which
but,
was absolutely fucking ridiculous. South Carolina is dog shit. And
yeah, but Will Levis didn't play. They didn't have their starting quarterback.
I don't give a fuck. They got cocked.
Hey, but the other thing that I was gonna say is I think Georgia also has the best win of the season so far.
I
With
agree.
Oregon?
That I agree with.
With
Not-
Oregon?
Not because, with Oregon, not because I think Oregon is this great team, but Oregon's ranked number 12 right now, and Georgia fucking rolled them.
I
Like,
agree.
Hold them.
and like you
Yeah,
guys have,
I think Bo Nix has Georgia PTSD. So
yeah, and you guys have a good resume, but the teams that you guys beat, they're not ranked anymore. I don't want to get into this conversation. I'm not shitting on your guys' resume,
I get it. Yeah.
but like if you ask yourself, our best win is, or Tennessee's best win is Florida, and Florida's not a bad team, but it's not like, I don't know. You guys definitely have the second best resume collectively, but as far as your biggest win, it's not that impressive. It's a good win, and to this point, your team has been impressive.
well, and it's to beat a top five, not top five, Power 5 team, 49-3 is dominant. I mean,
It's also pretty dominant to win in a 40-13. That's also pretty dominant. I'm not. Georgia's win is the most impressive. I'm not disputing that at all. But like you take and I don't want to get about the resumes, but I like our resume. I like what we've had to do early on going on the road to Pitt. I like what we had to do early on with Florida coming in, and Florida threw out all the stops to try to beat us. They threw everything at us. That was a competitive game. And then, of course, to go into LSU and dominate the way that we did, I think that the cumulative resume, you can match up with anybody. Now, I think Bama's played some tough games, and I think Georgia's played some competitive games, but Georgia's also struggled a little bit. But I don't want to split hairs. My issue is not with the other. They've had some dominant performances. It's with Clemson and Michigan and Ohio State. It's with those guys who haven't played anybody, and they're just kind of locked into these spots. That's the issue I have with it. But I mean, there's plenty of time to work everything. So we'll see.
Well, Ohio State beat Notre Dame, top 5 preseason, and we're surging right now. So
Got you. Okay, you're right.
To go with Alabama real quick, I mean, I don't see where who they play? Arkansas. So
And
far?
they throttled Arkansas backup quarterback. I'm just talking about watching them play. I'm not saying their resume is better. I'm saying when I watch them play, Alabama looks like a better team than Georgia to me. When I watch them.
Okay.
I agree with that.
you guys think Alabama's better than Georgia?
I would still take Georgia, but I think Bama has looked better.
Yes,
Really?
Bama's a better team. I think. In my opinion, it's close. I mean, they're elite teams.
I
I mean, to reel off 370-yard runs with your backup, and then to go in on the road and beat A&M with your backup. I'm
It's
not sure if any other team could do it. Really,
I agree.
Stetson Bennett is a backup. I mean, he starts for Georgia, but that dude's a walk-on, junior college. Like that dude is not a star quarterback.
Did you see him? Did you see a 67-yard scramble touchdown?
Yeah.
Bennett,
Yeah,
who was that against?
it was this last game.
Auburn.
This game, huh?
Auburn.
Oh, I mean, he busted it up the middle. He didn't get touched. 67 yards. He's pretty quick.
I think that tells you more about Auburn than Bennett.
Auburn's a train wreck. Auburn's a fucking train wreck. They're miserable. They're miserable.
Yeah, Auburn is counting down the days so they can fire that guy.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, you talk about a team that mismanaged their, like, they could have fired that dude before the season, and they should have. Like, what are they doing?
Who was the coach that went for it with the fake punt on 4th and 10? Was that Auburn or Oklahoma?
No, it
One
wasn't.
of these guys, even it's like, what in the world?
It was Auburn. It was Auburn,
Yeah.
and it wasn't.
David, no, David Pollock was like, boy, that takes some onions to go for that.
Well, did you see Oklahoma? They did this. They did a snap to their running back, and they did a jump pass, and it was terrible. This dude literally he shot like a jump shot, and it got picked off.
Did you guys see Ohio State do a fake punt on 4th down when
They got
were
into it. The
when
coaches,
they were up I think 49-10 or something?
yeah, the
What?
coaches got into it after the game.
They should have.
I would have.
Yeah, they did. All right, let's wrap this show up because we got to get ready to get some other shit done. We got another episode that we got to do. So until we meet again, see ya.
See ya.